In 2015, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation was given permission to release the metadata of one of their journalists, Brett Ockenden, as an experiment to understand what the implications of metadata are. This was a response to the shift in local laws requiring internet service providers to retain data on each of their customers for up to 2 years. In the lead up to this regulation, there was much debate on what metadata is, how it can be manipulated, and how it could be used against Australian citizens. The ABC experiment showed some alarming results of what can be concluded from seemingly harmless information. By observing Ockenden's data, much of which was produced when his phone connected to communication towers, the public could work out where he works, where he lives, how he commutes, when he moved house, where his parents lived, what flights he takes, and when he leaves the country, and some basic information about who he called. The significant takeaway from the experiment suggests that most people are unclear about the trade-offs we agree to when using social media. As users, we need to be aware of what is happening in the background. For example, who is watching and what are they doing with our data? And to also ensure we are engaging in appropriate tools that protect our online activities. This video is designed to deepen our understanding of the tension between social media and their use. Do they provide us with greater access at the cost of surrendering our privacy? Broadly speaking, the general push is that social media are being created for the benefit of the public, a kind of public service. Social media are also being created as a response to a market, however, which has an increasingly incessant desire to take over everyday movements and place them on mobile platforms. According to Jeremy Hunsinger, this arrangement is problematic from 3 perspectives. First, governments are beginning to shift laws that are transforming once friendly driven internet practices into market-centered practices. This may mean you can be sued by corporations who own the IP of content you originally created. Secondly, the way corporations acquire our consent to perform activities that we are likely to not even know about, nor understand, is entirely questionable. Thirdly, social media users are, for the most part, unaware of the infrastructures that facilitate social media use. For example, the copper wires or servers that store information, and changes to these infrastructures can be manipulated to serve the purpose of some and not others. What is concerning about these issues is that they occur very slowly and the changes are often unnoticed. In the case of interface changes, users will react, but we usually find that they quickly become standardized practices. A classic example of this is whenever Facebook changed their interface. There is usually an almighty roar from users against such changes to their favorite site, but this is generally short-lived as they are customized to the interface and continue to use the system as usual. The changes underneath are of consequence and require further investigation. We are also ruled by the larger infrastructure organisations that decide and manage the protocols on which our social media platforms operate. While many of these are designed and operate to ensure a free and open internet, they are managing multiple regions, cultures and uses, each of which have unique and specific perspectives on how the infrastructure should work. These protocols have been established, but maintaining their relevance is always tricky as new cultural uses and technologies emerge. As such, WISES, the UN World Summit on the Information Society, reaffirmed that all users are entitled to freedom of speech and expression. One of their key principles is everyone, everywhere should have the opportunity to participate, and no one should be excluded from the benefits of the information society. If, for example, we were to look at how Facebook uses algorithms to control which updates users are exposed to, we have a very simple case of how the wisest concept of everyone having access to the information can be construed and manipulated by vested interests. While we are using our social media platforms, some of us are aware of the data that is being generated and the fact that we have given consent to third-party platforms having access to that information. Are we, however, okay with the data being sold onto advertising agencies, for example? or for researchers to gather information about our political opinions? And are we okay that developers and designers are deciding which functionality we have access to before we even know what we want our technology to do for us? These are some of the issues we must think about and keep questioning as social media continues to develop and become central to our everyday lives.